So I just wanted to take a moment today and share with you guys one of my favorite sections of the first installment of my new podcast, Everyday Kind of Life, which, yes, the name was inspired by Third Eye Blind, for anybody that might make that assumption. The podcast, the first episode with Javi was absolutely great. We talked about a lot of things creator-wise as far as identity crisis and just trying to find inspiration and stay motivated. And if you want to listen to the full podcast, check the link in the description box below. But I think you'll really enjoy today's highlight. And if you'd like to be a part of the podcast, be sure to message me over on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you feel like DMing is the best, or just leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what your thoughts are on these exact same subjects. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.
So I've always thought that I wasn't creative, and what I mean by that is I've always thought that creative was people that draw, people that paint and all that stuff, because that's what I used to think, right? But I've always played music.
Yeah.
And it was one time that people say, well, that's an art too. That's you're creative because you sing, you play music. And I was like, whoa, I didn't think about that. So it's been changing throughout the years. Now I can see creativity in so many different ways, right? And obviously with exposure that we have to technology and social media and everything, like now you see creativity in all kinds of shapes and forms. I didn't really have an idea of what I was doing. I just wanted to shoot videos and post it on YouTube and see what was coming off of it. And then my wife, on the other end, she's more of a crafty person. So she likes all kinds of crafts and stuff. So I was like, all right, why don't I shoot those and record those, and we post them on YouTube as tutorials, and obviously those were the videos with way more views than our vlogs and all that kind of stuff. But then she didn't feel too much. She didn't feel very comfortable in front of the camera or talking to the camera, and basically she didn't want to do it. But I wanted to keep doing it because I was enjoying the editing and the posting the videos and shooting the videos and setting up and all that. But she eventually didn't want to do it anymore. We kind of stopped. But then I started looking into the old videos, and I was like, man, it was so cool that I was able to capture these experiences. But there was one thing that I heard the other day, and I'm sure you've heard it, and I don't want to assume that you've heard it, but I mean, it's pretty popular, where we always compare ourselves to others, right? And we always comparing ourselves, and we're like, oh man, I'm not good enough, I'm terrible at this, like what am I doing? Like I just want to, yeah, like I just want to, like I want to kind of fit in, but at the same time I'm thinking, no, I don't want to fit in, I actually enjoy doing this. Like this is really cool. This is a way that I have to spark creativity and to explore, and I enjoy it big time. But then since I was getting familiar with it, then I learned about wedding videography, and I was like, well, there's money into it. I don't need to have thousands and thousands of subscribers on YouTube to start making money off of my video skills that I have now, and that's kind of how it's going right now.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing, because I've fallen victim over the years, because I guess the channel that I am on now, I started, I think, around 2014 or 15, and I originally called it Everyday Photographers, because I was like, oh, well, I know a lot about Photoshop, I know a lot about Lightroom, I'm going to start teaching it. And I did it for so many months, maybe a year, and at the time, I didn't really care about making it big on YouTube. My goal then was to create like a photography course. Like people I looked up to then was like Aaron Nace, who I forget what his Flern is the name of his photography channel. So he's way more skilled in Photoshop and stuff than I am. But, you know, he had these paid courses and stuff. And I'm like, that's what I want to do for a living. Because at the time I did weddings, photography, I had done portraits, and I wasn't really enjoying that anymore. It wasn't really fun. It was just kind of sucking the life out of me, to be honest. I guess maybe I just did it too long, because I mean, I guess I'd been doing photography since around 2010 or 11. So about 6 years in, and I didn't do it full time. That was my aspirations. But my very first ever YouTube channel actually started in 2009.
Oh, wow.
I started what I called the Chad Almighty Show. That name was given to me when I was in a band. We were playing a concert one night and all the lights went out and nobody knew what was going on. So I walk over to this like little, it was like a power surge protector, and I flipped a switch. Somebody had stepped on it and cut all the lights off, and when I flipped them, and everybody was like, "Oh, let there be light, Chad Almighty, cut the lights on." And so that nickname just stuck, and I used it in gaming and things. It was silly, but at the time, YouTube was a different place in 2009 versus 2015, 16, and even today. So I looked up to people like Philip DeFranco when he was still in like a little bedroom in his parents' house. And then there was, I believe it's called Equals 3 with, what was his name? Ray William Johnson. So those were kind of like, those are the popular thing. And then the Shay Carl and his family doing the kind of those starting vlogs. So I was way into that stuff. So what I was doing was what I knew at the time, and that was musicians. So I started interviewing musicians for video content and then started talking about random topics. I was basically just mimicking what everybody else was doing. Yeah. And it wasn't me, but I had fun doing it. And I guess I was vlogging kind of before vlogging was really a big thing, because at the time, I think Shay Carl was the only one that I really knew about. And as far as like video tutorials, Film Riot was like the only ones on there, them and Indie Mogul. Yeah. And then now everybody does it. It's the cool thing. But around 2013, 14, I started my second channel. And it was gaming, because I really loved things like Call of Duty and Destiny. And I was like, I want to be a gamer on YouTube. That's what I want to do. And that dream died when I stopped enjoying the games I was playing. I dabbled with other games like Minecraft and stuff, but those weren't the type of games I wanted to create content for. I really enjoy, even to this day, the first person shooters and just hanging out with friends. But then I decided, I know photography, let's teach that. So that's where the Everyday Photographers came into play. But then about a year after I started that channel, I didn't really do a lot with it. I wasn't seeing any hits or anything. And back then, like YouTube subscriber trains and stuff was the thing, and likes for likes. And YouTube was a different world. The algorithm worked differently. And, you know, everybody wanted to hit that 100 subscribers, because that's when you get your username and stuff. So I tried to cheat my way to that 100. And I managed to get like 25 subs out of it. And I was like, I give up. I'm done with this. I want to do something else. I'm just going to go full-time photo in real life and forget this YouTube game. But then enters into the world. Logan Paul comes over to YouTube and starts doing this vlogging. And I'm just watching this guy grow like crazy. I mean, this was like early days Logan Paul, when he was still, you know, holding the camera himself. It was not a great quality camera, and he was editing his own videos. He didn't have all this influx. And I'm like, I could be like that guy. So I start vlogging. And then around that same time is when Casey Neistat was blowing up. And I'm oh, now I've got to do time lapses and set my camera up and look like I'm walking off the scene and then go back and get it. And so I started doing that stuff. And then a year later, oh, there's Peter McKinnon showing up. Who is this guy? Okay, cool. He's also in photo. I started off in photo, and that's when I started making some changes back into the photography scene, because I was like, that's what I truly like. And I wanted to find ways to incorporate what I was doing with like the vlog travels, but with photography, and none of it was working. So like my first like year or two, I didn't really see anything. And then like the second year, I got to 100 subscribers. And then the next year I got to 1,000. And then the next year was like 5,000, and now almost 10,000. But somewhere along the way, I really stopped caring about the subscribers. Not saying I don't care about the people that watch the content, but I stopped caring about those numbers. Because I mean, there was times in the beginning, like trying to hit that first 1,000, that like I would check it almost every hour, every single day to see where I was at. And it might only be increasing by like 3 people a day, but I'll be like, oh man, where's it next? And it was this thing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've struggled with what I call like an identity crisis all these years, trying to figure out
amen to
what
that.
It is I like to do. Right. And that's something we talked about on Twitter. And I was like, you know, we should mention that. But what kind of led me off onto that journey of that story was you saying about, you're creating content you enjoy now. And that's something I struggle with, is like, well, what do I like creating?
I feel like I'm pretty pretty overall pretty decent of a lot of things, a lot of things, but I'm not like really good at one thing. Like I'm pretty average at few things, but I'm not good at one thing. And everybody talks about niche, and everybody talks about focus on one thing. And like, if I was really, really, really good to talk about water bottles, like I could just focus on water bottles, right? But I'm not like that. And that's one of my struggles too, like identity crisis when it comes to creativity, because I mean, on my personal level, I know who I am. I know my values. I know what I believe. Like, but on a creativity side, that's where I struggle.